This is the Washington Times front page for Tuesday, June 29th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell lambasted Democratic congressional leaders for holding up a bipartisan infrastructure plan until a companion social spending bill passes along party lines. Congressional reporter Harris Alec and White House correspondent Jeff Murdoch report McConnell said the threats by Democratic leaders amount to extortion and a breach of the bipartisan good faith that Republican lawmakers have experienced in negotiations so far. President Biden backed down from a veto threat of the deal without a social spending bill over the weekend after objections from Republican senators who had agreed to the infrastructure framework. The president hopes to get the deal back on track by promoting its expanded economic benefits, calling it the largest investment in transportation in nearly a century, and predicting it would create 1 million jobs. He's scheduled to travel to La Crosse, Wisconsin, to promote the package. The Supreme Court has declined to take up a major case challenging transgender rights, leaving in place a lower court ruling that allows transgender students at a Virginia high school to use bathrooms and locker rooms of their choice. Valerie Richardson and legal affairs reporter Alex Sawyer report the Supreme Court allowed the lower court ruling to stand in the case of Gavin Grimm, a transgender student who sued the Gloucester County School Board for barring him from using the boys' restroom. This marks the third time the High Court has refused to take up transgender access to public school facilities. The court's abstention on some gender identity discrimination issues has created a legal void that's quickly being filled by conflicting rules from the federal government and Republican-led legislatures. Litigation has inevitably followed, leading legal analysts to agree that it's not a matter of whether the court will revisit the issue, but when. In foreign affairs, the Pentagon has threatened Iran with serious consequences if it continues funding militias that target American troops in the Middle East. Pentagon correspondent Ben Wolfgang reports the Defense Department issued its warning less than 24 hours after President Biden ordered a series of airstrikes along the Iraq-Syria border against Iraqi Shiite militias. Pentagon officials said the groups have carried out at least 5 drone operations since April, along with numerous rocket attacks. Those assaults have continued even as U.S. and international diplomats work with Iran to reinstate the 2015 nuclear deal that limited Iran's nuclear program in exchange for economic sanctions relief. Despite its defense alliance with the United States, Iraq's government condemned the strikes as a violation of its sovereignty, long fearing that the country will wind up as the battleground if the United States and Iran come to blows. A reminder that you can find all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. Don't have access to the Times yet? Visit WashingtonTimes.com/George and get 25% off your annual subscription. On immigration, Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra made a snap visit to a shelter holding illegal immigrant children at the southern U.S. border in Texas and insisted he's making progress in improving their living conditions. Stephen Dinan reports Becerra said he's trying to shutter the emergency shelters that have sparked the complaints, but the Department of Health and Human Services can't do so because the surge of children is still too unpredictable and, as of now, is still too overwhelming to handle with licensed facilities. The tent shelter at Fort Bliss, near El Paso, once held more than 4,000 unaccompanied children. Becerra said that number was cut to fewer than 800 as of Monday. And finally, religion reporter Mark Kellner talks with Robert Jeffress. The senior pastor of First Baptist Church in Dallas, Jeffress says society is changing apart from politics and becoming more and more ungodly with each unpassing day. Although he decries the anti-science views of some evangelicals that have led to anti-vaccination positions, Jeffress rejects an argument that Christians should flee cities for rural areas and form separate communities. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and subscribe for free to the front page. Just search Washington Times on your favorite podcast platforms. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WashTimes for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.